Get going. So good afternoon. My name is James Stark. I'm with the LISC Safety and Justice Training and Technical Assistance Team. I have Scott Pestridge with me. He is the Senior Program Manager at OJJDP. Welcome to orientation, orientation session number 1. What we want to do is to introduce you to the OJJDP team. I'm going to share my slides in a minute, but we're going to introduce you to the OJJDP team. Next webinar, we'll introduce you to our LISC Safety and Justice TTA team. And what we really want to do is to hear from you all. Again, we want to create a community of practice where we highlight and raise up innovative practices and strategies that you all are utilizing. Be able to share information, learn from one another. I think hopefully you'll learn from us, but we also want to make sure that we create opportunities for you all to learn from each other. So this is the first part of that, building that community of practice. So welcome. I'm going to share my screen here, and we will be moving. All right. Just give me a thumbs up that you all see the screen. The perfecto. All right. So welcome.
James, we're not seeing your screen yet. We can't see your screen.
I just got some thumbs up. So can some people see the PowerPoint?
You got thumbs down, James.
Again. How's that?
It's coming.
Yep. You're set.
We got it.
Now we can see it.
All right. So again, welcome to the first cohort of enhancing school capacity to address youth violence sites. You all are one of 23 sites. This is the list that we're going to be testing you at the end of session number 2 to make sure that you know exactly who's who. No, I'm just kidding. No tests. And just as a heads up, OJJDP has a solicitation for a second cohort of sites that is out currently. So sometime in the fall, you all will be joined by another cohort of 22 sites. So there will be 45 total. I'm going to call them ESC sites. So we all do acronyms in the federal government and definitely with LISC as well. So we're going to start getting you into the acronyms. So welcome. So as far as the agenda, today you'll be hearing from Scott and the OJJDP team. They will introduce themselves. They'll talk about the programmatic goals and reporting requirements. Then we'll have about hopefully 12 of you, 10 or 12 of you, provide site intros. And then next Thursday, we will have session number 2, where our TTA team will introduce ourselves and talk a little bit about training and technical assistance and kind of what the expectations that you all should have of us are and how we can support your work. So with that, we are going to turn this over to Scott. Scott, welcome, and looking forward to hearing about the OJJDP team and expectations. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it, James. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all today. We're going to get through these pretty quickly, but I am with our Delinquency Prevention and Child Protection Division within OJJDP. OJJDP is the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. As James said, we do use a lot of acronyms, so you got to call us out if if we don't use them enough, if we don't articulate them enough in the beginning. So the Office of Justice Programs, or OJP, has these 6 components: Bureau of Justice Assistance, Bureau of Justice Statistics, National Institute of Justice, OJJDP, Office for Victims of Crime, and the Sex Offender Mapping Apprehension Office, SMART Office. All of those offices make up what is the Office of Justice Program, which is by and large the grant-making arm of the department. There is a office for office for the COPS office, Community Oriented Policing office, and the Office for Violence Against Women, which are also grant-making offices within the department, but they're external to OJP. So if we go to the next slide, you'll see this is really our vision as an office, is to have a nation where all children are free from crime and violence, and that youth contact with the juvenile justice system should be rare, fair, and beneficial to them. So we provide national leadership, coordination, and resources to prevent and respond to youth delinquency and victimization. And we have we have a ton of resources to provide states, localities, and tribes develop these effective and equitable JJ systems that create a safer communities and empower youth to lead productive lives. So I just want to spend a minute on this. This is kind of OJJDP's guiding philosophy. It's looking at enhancing the welfare of America's youth to broaden their opportunities for a better future, and doing this through a transformative effort that will do three things. One, treat children as children. Two, serve children at home with their families and their communities. And three, open up opportunities for system-involved youth. We encourage all applicants that work with us to highlight how proposed programs will align with these priorities. This is super important, and it's a lot of alignment with your cohort under the enhancing school capacity to address youth violence around these three key priorities. Next slide. So you'll see our team is here. Jackie O'Reilly is our Deputy Associate Administrator, and I oversee just like some of the programmatic stuff, but not, Jackie is the supervisor that oversees the team. We also have Leonora Fleming, and then if you continue, Keisha Kersey, Steffi Rapp, and Alex Serrano. That's the team that will be supporting you. We put the contact information up just to help make it clear for you as you need to reach out. So one of the things that I wanted to take a minute about is on this initiative. You know the goal, the overall goal of developing and expanding strategies that increase school safety by preventing and reducing school violence. Objectives are pretty specific, but what I really want to reinforce is that we're connecting service provisions from community to youth, and that we're creating these opportunities and connections with community, schools, and families. It's super important. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the Bureau of Justice Assistance offered us an interagency agreement last year to support this solicitation to really focus on school climate under the STOP funding that was previously only provided to the Office of Community Oriented Policing Services and the Bureau of Justice Assistance. So we're really happy to be a part of this greater support effort for communities to focus on youth violence, but specifically related to school violence and looking at school climate. Next slide. So we're just going to get into the grant administration stuff. You accepted your award. You have your award conditions reviewed. You likely have already had a final clearance. I think there's maybe one award that's still awaiting that piece. We'll work with you on that. But you'd had some back and forths on your budget, and one thing that's really important as you just go through this process, making sure your financial and programmatic points of contact and authorized rep, all the contacts in the Just Grant system are up to date, because that's our formal mechanism for communication and updating things. So just make sure that you do use that, and it's not like communicating to us like through an email saying, "Hey, Scott, we updated this. We have a new person." It's good to let us know, but the formal mechanism is to implement that change within the Just Grant system. Next slide. So, The Just Grant system is probably new to many of you. So it's a process. We provided a lot of tools and resources here for you to become more familiar. Clearly, you were successful in navigating the process to receive an award. Again, congratulations. This was a fairly competitive solicitation. So I think for a fairly limited number of funded sites. So again, congratulations to you on your efforts. So one of the things that is really important to note is the financial management training requirement. Many of you have already taken this financial management training. If you haven't, you need to. There's a link available here, and as James said, the slides will be provided to you. But this is an important requirement that you need to update every 2 years, I believe, to in terms of your financial management training for both your financial and your programmatic points of contact to make sure that you keep up to speed. If for some reason you don't do that, there will be a temporary hold placed on your award, affecting your ability to draw down funds until you can do that. So it's just really good to be proactive and stay on top of your training requirement. I'm going to talk for a minute about the determination of suitability for safeguarding youth. If you look at the OJP guidance available on that link, you'll notice that there is, it's really important that you, if you are interacting with youth, which necessarily you all are based on the requirements under this solicitation, there's certain requirements around background checks and making sure that there's suitability around safeguarding any youth that might come into contact with individuals related to your program directly, or even to the site that you might have services rendered indirectly. So please do familiarize yourself with that determination of suitability. It is one of your award conditions that you signed on when you accepted and agreed to receive these funds. Many of you are familiar with the withholding of funds budget. There was many of you had what's called a conditional clearance that's made when awards are made just for purposes of making an award until we can get through all of your budget stuff. And so most of you do have a final clearance by now, which is great. There is a requirement in your conditions that you attend a grantee meeting, which we will likely have in the fall, probably October. Program managers will work with you. The list of 6 people that we showed, Jackie will be overseeing it, but the 5 of us that are listed will work with you individually around what you need to do to make sure you have those funds budgeted to support an in-person training. So don't get hung up on that for today, but just letting you know that's something we will be talking about in the future. So next step, next slide. So there's 3 key parts that I want to go through, and that's around programmatic, fiscal, and administrative. Programmatic is really just managing and implementing your goals and any sort of changes in scope of work. Fiscal is looking at budgets and revisions and any accounting or fiscal oversight. And then, administrative is really looking at, any sort of documentation, tracking of administrative aspects. It could be personnel timesheets. It could be performance measurement tracking. It's a multitude of things. There's a fair amount of administrative tracking required in this or any federal award. But these are 3 distinct pieces that all are critical components as a sum of the whole to support your effort. Next slide. So your program manager is your primary contact within OJJDP. We provide consultation around it. You may have some changes in how you might want to focus on certain things based on what you initially identified in your response to the solicitation. Let's talk through that. It may require scope change, it may not, but these are all things that it's helpful to kind of have a conversation with your program manager first to just figure out best next steps. If you need additional training technical assistance, certainly LISC is our training and technical assistance provider, and they're going to be providing a fair amount of intensive services. with you across you know, the life cycle of your award. But, you know, there may be some additional things that you will need assistance on and we can help you with. You know, so enough on that. If you have programmatic changes, you know, we'll look at that. If there's any sort of program implementation issues or concerns, we touch base fairly regularly, and then, you know, support your administration of your award. We do ask that you include your grant number, which is kind of odd. It's this 15, it's got a stop in it. It's like very convoluted number, but it's just unfortunately the way it is. So make sure you include that number in your communications with us because it helps us just get to the answer more quickly. Okay, so Just Grants is your official award file. You know, password is needed, help desk is available for that. We have a slide that kind of has all kinds of resources around help desk on Just Grants. But you know, you determine the three main assigned goals and contacts in the system, which is the authorized rep, the points of contact, programmatic and fiscal. So that's important that you just stay on top of that. We've had instances where, you know, those that have authorized use have maybe left the agency, didn't communicate the change for whatever reason, and that happens, but it can be quite convoluted and create quite a bit of time before we get to being able to kind of continue with the continuity of operations, if you will, around programs. So definitely, if you have two of the three of you that are 100% up to date, then if a third one changes, it makes it much easier for you to kind of continue to keep things up to date. So just really do look at that. Next slide. So performance reporting, you know, we talk about semi-annual performance reports. These are due twice a year, and they cover the first 6 months and the second 6 months of a calendar year respectively, and they're due 30 days after the close of that 6-month cycle. So there's information on that link there. That's an important piece for you to recall, to recognize. I also want you to recognize that if you have an award that is that you haven't had any activity on, you still need to report that you haven't had any activity. I know it sounds a little ridiculous, but it's an important piece because the system doesn't have a way of necessarily knowing if you don't have activity or if you failed to report activity until you report that you have no activity. So just humor us on that piece if you could. Next slide. So financial reporting, these are quarterly reports. This is, so if you look at the semi-annual performance report, you just kind of split that in two, right? You have January to March. Well, actually, technically, our federal fiscal year starts October 1st. So October to December, and then every 3 months after. So those are due also 1 month after the close of the cycle. So, I mean, you could look at it this way. Technically, you have two reports due each January, and January 30th and July 30th. Two, right? You have a fiscal and a programmatic, and then you have two other fiscal reports due 3 months in between those cycles. So anyway, this is just for you to have. So the Federal Funding Accountability and Transparency Reporting Act is just an important piece that you need to be aware of, since if you're receiving more than $30,000, which you all are, well, you all are to you. But if you are awarding more than $30,000 to subrecipients, you're required to submit data in the FFATA reporting system. And that's by the end of the month following the month in which the recipient awards any subgrantee greater than $30,000. So just keep an eye on that requirement because some of you may be starting to make these subawards, and it may not be on your radar, but it's something that is tracked. And so we want to make sure that you're proactively getting these in within 30 days post subaward if it exceeds the $30,000. Next slide. So if or when you have changes, and likely you will have changes on some level throughout your 36-month cycle, you have to initiate this, what's called a grant adjust award modification. It could be for multiple things, extension of project period, point of contact, personnel, budget modification, scope change, a ton of things. They're not guaranteed. They're requests that are put in the system, and a lot of times there's back and forth that goes with these requests. Just work with us and know that we're going to do our best to support you, but we need to do it in alignment with the financial guide, the OJP financial guide, and general accounting practices, and a lot of the OMB circulars that govern cooperative agreements, throughout federal grantsmanship. So program changes require prior approval if on project scope, if you have any changes in scope, even if the budget revision is under a 10% rule. There's a 10% rule saying that if you have within a particular category or across the award, if it's within 10%, potentially you don't need to submit a budget modification. Always consult with your program manager, though, to determine best next steps, okay? But these are just a couple of examples. I want to be mindful of time to make sure we have enough time to get to everyone here. So we'll move on to the next slide. So on budget modifications, I just mentioned a little bit about the 10% rule. It's a 10% deviation from the total award cumulatively. Prior changes account. They do count. So that means that you really do need to keep track from the very beginning, and it's pretty easy if you're looking to make a few changes for you to reach that threshold pretty quickly to where a budget modification will be needed. Okay, so that's that. So this is a Department of Justice financial guide, very important guide. Please get to know it. We ask that you refer to it initially before kind of spitballing some ideas or questions, because most of the things that you're going to put in some sort of again, it's going to be enumerated in the financial guide. So just take a look and at least have a familiarization with it when you reach out to us, so that we can kind of look together at that. So Just Grants, has a tremendous amount of training resources. So there's a link here that has videos and resources that go through the whole life cycle of your award. Please become familiar with that. I know many of you are just getting off the ground, and just know that if you're just getting off the ground, you're not really behind. I think that there was, many in this cohort are just now at a stage where their budget's cleared, they're able to really bring on staff and really begin implementing the project design that was successfully, awarded under this cooperative agreement. Okay, so there's three key parts to monitoring: programmatic, administrative, and fiscal. So we do what's called an annual grant assessment, where we look at risk levels. We do desk reviews. These are all just looking at many things, including award amount, ability to successfully submit reports, and performance measures. There are programmatic on-site visits. We as an office have to go out and look at a certain percentage of our overall funding that we make. In communities generally, we need to look at a percentage of those through on-site visits, our enhanced programmatic desk reviews. And so, we may look, you may be involved in one of those, likely you will be at one point. And these are not audits, they're programmatic opportunities to engage and learn about best practices, learn about opportunities to make your program stronger, and look at your overall compliance with various key requirements. And again, it's not a gotcha thing, it's a supportive, how do we work with you to help you be most successful. But monitoring includes all these types of activities, and it's not just limited to a site visit. Okay, next slide. So visits are conducted when, you could request a visit, or there might be a particular interest in a model that you might be implementing. That could be a reason. Again, I mentioned the periodic review needed, And I really already spoke about all of this. So I think we're good here. So programmatic visits do include, yeah, we went through that too. Yes, and programmatic reviews covers the administrative, programmatic, and fiscal, all the pieces that we just talked about. Okay, so the Office of the Chief Financial Officer, that's the our CFO office within the Office of Justice Programs. They have a monitoring visit where they look at a particular, they might have sites that have multiple awards across multiple components that we talked about earlier, like within OJP. So they may, you know, or for multiple reasons, they may choose to have a financial review. And that's when they do that, they do ask if program office is interested in being a part of that. Sometimes we don't get enough lead time to really be able to purposefully connect with them on that. But these are less, they're less, they occur less often than what I would say is a programmatic visit from an office. There is also the Office of Inspector General audits that do occur on occasion, and that can be for multiple reasons. But those are less, a little more limited in terms of how often they might occur and with whom. Okay, next slide. So some frequently identified issues in terms of record keeping, making sure you have appropriate files, official files, subaward files, that your time and attendance is in order, that has signed time and attendance, or if you have an electronic system, a way to show that electronic timestamp that shows actual hours, not budgeted, you know, that you have written standards, written procedures and internal controls, written monitoring plans, that you have a cash management system, that, you know, that you're not doing frequent withdrawals, that you have prior approval for grant changes, and that you have, you know, evidence of that. These are common issues that are identified on site. Okay, next. And again, we mentioned, you know, program manager is your primary point of contact on your grant or your cooperative agreement. In this case, Just Grant Support is an incredible resource. You have an email, a phone number, you have a website with resources. I would encourage you to go to the web-based resources initially to see if you can kind of call through it, because it can be a little bit of time in terms of response for Just Grants to get back to you. There are certain things that you may be frustrated with that we as program managers may be able to help you with, but likely Just Grants is going to need to assist you in particular matters that are a little more involved. And so we do ask that you utilize that help desk. There's also, if you go back 1 second, James, there is also an Office of the Chief Financial Officer help desk if you have fiscal questions or issues, and there's a performance measurement tool help desk as well. So all that information is there for you. And I think I just came in just under time, so I'm proud of myself for that. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, James. I think we're going to maybe hold questions to the end. Was that what you were thinking, James? I think that's what we talked about.
Yes, thank you, Scott. Well done, 25 minutes. And you saw there was a sheet there for questions. I would just ask if you have questions for Scott, either drop them in the chat and or send them to either myself or to Scott, and we will get back to you, I would say within the week. So we are now going to turn this over to the fun part of this, which is introducing each other and learning about what all of us are engaged with and what we hope to achieve through this grant program. So I'm going to drop the questions in the box, and Kristen, I saw your question. You'll have access to the recording and the PowerPoint within a week, so definitely. Hold on 1 second. So in the chat is a reminder of the questions that we hope for you to answer. We have 3 to 5 minutes, so try to meet that criteria. I have these little things: 2 minutes, 1 minute, and then time. So I will try to remind you all, and we're trying to get all of us through today. So that will be our goal. So up first from Philadelphia, the not Super Bowl champions, the Super Bowl runner-ups from Philadelphia, the school district of Philly.
Hi, how are you?
Good afternoon.
Okay, so our team is myself. So I'm the head of data and research and evaluation for the Office of School Safety at the School District of Philadelphia. We have Kevin Rosa, who's our program manager, Bridget Guariglia, who's our research assistant, and Ben Davis and Katriana Williams, who are our outreach workers in the school. So our population is School District of Philadelphia high school students enrolled in Southwest Philadelphia who are gang or group involved or at risk for gang or group involvement. And then our core strategy. So we are relying on a planning grant. We actually modified the OJJDP comprehensive gang model for implementation specifically in a school setting. So this project is funding the implementation of our planning efforts. So if you're not familiar, the OJJDP comprehensive gang model is a flexible framework that communities use to plan a comprehensive approach to gangs. So the comprehensive gang model relies on a multidisciplinary response to youth gang involvement on multiple levels: prevention, intervention, and suppression. So our approach kind of is innovative in the case that it's based specifically within the school. So we're implementing that model in the school setting. So our team works to link the school to the community-based gang prevention, intervention, and suppression activities in the community. So for example, in addition to our project team and the school district, our larger multidisciplinary team includes key stakeholders in the school, like the school principal, the counselors, the psychologists, special education, school safety. But then we also have on our team criminal justice agencies. We have juvenile probation, the school beat police officers, and the police in the district that we're serving. And then we also have community partners. So for example, Cure Violence community outreach team in Southwest Philadelphia from the University of Pennsylvania. So our team meets weekly to review all of the individual cases and problem solve about the needs of the individuals. We discuss the school incidents, overall school climate, and any shootings or homicides that happen in that catchment area that week. Our project team also works on school programming. So for example, our program manager, Kev, he recently had a school-based youth violence panel where the students and the teachers and staff came together to discuss school climate and violence within their communities. So our key outcomes are improved school climate, fewer assaults, particularly gang assaults, reduced shootings in the school catchment area, and reduced student involvement in gangs and violence. That's it.
Well, that was perfect. So that was under 3 minutes. So hopefully everybody got a good preview of, hopefully that's exactly what we want. Love to hear about the strategy. I think that's the key part, is to really understand, how this grant is going to be supporting your students, so that you can kind of learn from each other and hear, oh, that's kind of something that we're thinking about doing, and then possibly set potential opportunities to connect with each other. So Brandy, bonus points for you in Philly. Thank you very much. Up next are our friends at the Center for Community Justice in Elkhart, Indiana.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ann Lehman from the Center for Community Justice. And we are a nonprofit organization that serves Elkhart County, Indiana. And so the members of our team, and we are partnering with the Elkhart Community Schools for this initiative. Our team includes myself, program coordinator for our organization, our executive director, Erwin Larrier, who's on the call, and Becky Snyder, who is our restorative schools coach working in the schools, as well as our school partners. And I'm not sure if any of them were able to make it, but Lindsay Brander, who is the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services at Elkhart Community Schools, Mindy King from Westside Middle School, who we're partnering with, and Tervonda Goins from Pinewood Elementary School that we're partnering with. So we are working alongside two selected school buildings within Elkhart Community Schools. West Side, which is a middle school, and Pinewood, which is an elementary school. And our program staff interact with all the students within that school in a universal preventative manner, as well as in intervention with smaller groups of students or individuals who may have caused harm or have been in conflict with others or have participated in violence. Our program staff will also work at supporting the school staff as well as parents, as they are also important parts of the school community. We are using the model of restorative justice in education to support and build healthy relationships between students and between teachers and students, and to address harm and conflict as they arise within a school building, as well as working collaboratively with a team from the local school to support a learning environment that is just and equitable. So specific strategies include working with classroom teachers to facilitate and implement community building circles in the classroom, working with the school's disciplinary team to facilitate conversations or dialogues with students to repair harm when that happens and to resolve conflict when needed, as using restorative practices of circle process or mediation. And then we're also working to build the capacity of school staff within a restorative justice mindset, to train them in practices, restorative practices such as circle, restorative chats, other restorative practices, and then to provide follow-up coaching and support for the teachers as they implement those practices within the school. And we work with our school partners to collaboratively develop their school goals for individual goals around reducing and preventing violence within that school building, and work to do strategic planning with that school, as well as with a multidisciplinary team of other supports within our local community. Yeah, I think that's where I'll stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Up next, Volunteers Youth Justice in Shreveport. Kelly, I think that's you.
Yes, it is. Shreveport, Louisiana.
Hey, hey.
Yeah. So I'm Kelly Todd. I'm the Executive Director of Volunteers for Youth Justice. We go by VYJ because it's easier to pronounce. We use that acronym. So we're a local nonprofit. We've been around for 52 years and 42 years. And our main goal is to provide a community caring for children, youth, and families in crisis. And we do that through a variety of programs. But I also have our program manager, Melissa Ennis, on here, and our fiscal manager, Kristen Stubbs, on here as well. We didn't invite all the staff and all the people yet because we're still training them, and we're on school campuses right now. The school year is winding down and we're trying to learn the climate and culture of each school. So our program is something that we did as a pilot program at a school, and we're in our second year of piloting it. We put all of our programs that are school-based on a campus, an elementary school campus, a huge elementary school for Shreveport. It's about 1,100 kids. So we brought on the campus, they have a full-time attendance truancy officer, a full-time TBRI facilitator, and we've built a calming studio for kids who get dysregulated. We remove the kid from the classroom immediately, get them regulated so the teacher's not disrupted and having to shut down all the learning. We also have conflict resolution, leadership academy on campus. So everything is under one roof. And I'm so glad we piloted it for 2 years because we made a lot of mistakes. It taught us what doesn't work, what works, what we needed to change. And so with this grant, what we did is we wrote it to expand this to 4 additional schools. So because of the success that we had at this school, we were able to reduce truancy by by 50 kids. Only one kid actually ended up having to go to court over truancy. And we were able to really decrease the behavior referrals for the staff, and also just teaching those kids more of a preventative way to deal with conflict really decreased the school fights on campus. So the goal is to get this at additional schools. And we spent a lot of time training admin, because for our trauma-focused work, we use TBRI, which is trust-based relational intervention. And so we're training the staff to use these tools as well, because if we're using it and then we send them back to class and it's not being used, it really doesn't work. It's counterproductive. So spend a lot of time with the staff and training. And what we've also recognized is every school is different. You got to do it different on every campus, because everyone has different climates. And so that's what we've spent the last 6 months learning, everyone's climate. So I can wrap it up there. I could go on, but I'll wrap it up there to save time.
You still have 2 minutes, so if you want to
No,
go on.
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Kelly, thank you so
Thank you.
much. Up next, Affirming Youth Foundation in Miami, and congratulations to your Heat.
I don't follow sports. Sorry to disappoint you. I don't know what's going on. All right. But my name is Chandra Whitehead. I am with Affirming Youth Foundation in Miami, Florida. And my director is also kind of sort of on, Jonathan Spikes. He's the executive director. We are more primarily located in an area called Liberty City in Miami. And our mission is, as an organization, is in improving the social and emotional outcomes for all youth and families by providing wellness support, coordinated services, and trauma-informed care. So that's how this grant fits into the work that we were already doing and are going to continue doing. And we named our project AYFNSP, which is Family Neighborhood School Partnership, because what we are trying to do is implementing comprehensive trauma-informed, school-based, and individualized programming for middle school students. So school violence is a big issue in the Liberty City community, and especially with the middle school. So that is our highlighted student population that we will be working with, or we have been working with, because we implemented our program in January with some of the services for the middle school students. We have success coaches that are also a part of the project. So those success coaches help by providing, facilitating workshops. We have a civics program that is part of our strategy to provide interventions and a mechanism for young people to take some control over their community. So they participate in a civics-based program called Project Citizen, and that's what we've been able to implement thus far. But we also have plans for a parent strategy as well, a parenting program, a financial literacy program, because that's a part of the middle school curriculum. And then also helping to develop more business supports, partnerships for the school to get support from the surrounding businesses. I was just talking, so I'm like, what else? Yeah, so the idea is prevention and early intervention strategies. We, of course, will be targeting students who are directly involved in any type of violent incidents or impacted by violence. And I must say that this is a serious topic right now. And we are working with the dean of students at the school, as well as the principal, to identify how we can fully roll it out in the fall. And unfortunately, on Thursday, a 15-year-old student from the school was shot and killed. So today, the school is having counselors come from the county out to provide support for students who are dealing with that sadness and grief. And of course, those are the types of efforts that prompted us to create this program and to implement ourselves into the school, start to learn more about how they address these topics and how we can support those types of situations when the children are exposed to school-based violence as well and community violence.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Mr. Spice, did you want to chime in? I see you came on camera.
No, you did a wonderful job. But the funding is so important for the time that we're facing right now at that middle school.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, up next, we have there's a strategic solutions for families in Boonville, Mississippi. Oh, Pam, I can't hear you.
Muted.
Yep.
Now can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, so let me start off by saying that we are 4 months old in regards to this particular grant, because we have never had an Office of Justice grant. So we're learning, and I'm sitting here like taking all kind of notes because I want to learn from everybody else. And I think this is absolutely wonderful that y'all are bringing us all together, because I'm chatting with people. Let me know this, let me know that. So we are a brand new agency. We started in March of 2020, and we started in Boonville, which is in the far northeast corner of the state of Mississippi. But our executive director was from the Delta. So we're trying to, make all of this work together. So last year we were so fortunate to be in the Greenville School District, and we did a healthy relationship class. And while we were there, we started seeing like problems within the school system that needed to be addressed. And that's what our agency is about. It's not like making programs that don't make a difference. Our agency is about designing programs that will make a difference. So we decided to apply for this grant, and we got it, and we're so excited. We are going to, our goal is to actually do classes, and we want to serve at least 500 students in the Greenville High School or K through 12 system. Okay. And we're going to do violence prevention, because what we saw was when we were in the classes trying to do healthy relationship classes through another grants funding source, a lot of times we couldn't do the class because the school got shut down because this, and this. So we recognize that there might be an issue. We went to community leaders, we went to our partners and say, okay, what can we do? So when this grant opportunity came out, we tried to address that issue. So we're excited. Doris Benford is our director of the Delta operations. And what we plan to do is we're going to try, okay? Because you got to have a plan before you can get end results. We may not reach the end results, but we got to have a plan. So we want to improve the school capacity to prevent and
Oh, you want to mute again, Pam.
now.
Prevent and intervene. Yep.
Okay. So we want to try to improve the school capacity to prevent and intervene early to incidents of violence. We want to enhance and expand partnerships between the school systems and any CBO, because we recognize that the schools, they can't do it all. There is absolutely no way they can do it all. So, and then we're going to do classes in K through 12. We're going to do violence prevention, and we're going to use the Love Notes curriculum and the essentials, real essentials curriculum, try to help students realize what's important versus communication, anger, what part of our brain is working when we get anger. And we want to try to teach them skills that they can keep from being violent, because that's what we're seeing. I mean, and this year, bless them. That's all I can say. Bless them. It's just been so hard in our other grant, because there's been so many things that's been going on, and it is not the teacher's fault. It's not the school system's fault. It's not the parents' fault. you know, you can't blame anybody. We as a society, we've got to quit blaming people, and we got to figure out, okay, let's accept responsibility and let's move on. So we're so excited to be in doing this. But let me say to all of our partners and to you guys, we're learning, and we want to learn from you. And y'all see in the chat box, every time somebody puts something up, I'm typing in, can I get this? Can I get that? So we're 4 months old.
Pam, I love your energy. Keep bringing it. And you will be excited next session when we talk about TTA, because that's exactly what we want to do, is that we want to
Absolutely.
make sure that you all continue to connect with each other. We will obviously help facilitate those connections, but we'll also find other folks for you to connect with as well.
Absolutely.
So Pam, keep using that chat box and connect with as many folks as you can. I encourage you all to do the same thing. Love that energy. Let's keep it up. All right. And speaking of brain dynamics, we have an amazing organization, ROCA Inc. in Chelsea, Massachusetts. They do a cognitive behavioral therapy training. These are one of our partners in a lot of the work that we do. So we're excited that ROCA is a part of this cohort. And ROCA in Chelsea, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joe Finari. I'm the Chelsea site director. Great to be here. You want to see energy? I'm going to bring energy every time we go on these meetings, all the time. All right. You can't be bored. We're cross-sectioned here. We're all over the country. We're going to have some fun here. Okay. We're a 4-year intervention model. ROCA's been in existence for 35 years. The home plant is in Chelsea, 7 sites throughout Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Baltimore. The Chelsea site's been here, like I said, for 35 years. We're really excited about this opportunity because this is going to bring actually more of an enhancement in the work that we're currently doing in the city of Chelsea and in the Chelsea High School. With me today is Victoria Ramirez. She's our program manager for the Central American Youth Program. I'll let her talk in a few minutes, but I just want to talk about the work that we do here with young men between the ages of 17 and 24. That we an intervention model that we we really surround our work with relentless outreach, the cognitive behavior theory, which they just spoke about, the 7 skills that we're all required to do to really work on emotional regulation with our young people. We've been doing that for a number of years. We've gone through a number of iterations on that. Right now, we're down to 7 skills. And then we do peacekeeping circles and circles with our young people. And we find that to be very beneficial. That's worked. And Victoria will speak about that a little bit more when we talk about the school and the work that's actually done to bring different factions. When I talk about different gang activities that are going on inside the school, bringing everybody together to clearly understand what is going on in the system between the urban violence that we're dealing with on a daily basis. Population is growing. We're getting very busy. We're excited to get the grant. We've added an additional staff person on because of this grant to help out with the community and community relation in dealing with the families. We have a real strong relationship, what we call engaged institutions, with our local law enforcement, our police, our courts, our probation, the school department. Victoria actually owns the Chelsea High School. She goes in, she owns it, she walks in, knows everybody by first name. And if there's any issue or concern that's going on, Victoria is notified about that immediately. And what we want to continue to do is build on what we're doing and continue and strengthen the work that we're doing. We're finding the work in the school to keep young people working and educating young people, especially our Central American population, to keep that going and working with the schools, working with the school resource officer, all the disciplinary, the managers over there, what do they call those guys? The deans of discipline, the principal. We've got direct relationship with the superintendent. So I'm going to pass it on to Victoria, and she's going to explain a little bit more about what she does in the schools.
Hi, my name is Victoria, and I'm the program manager for the Central American Youth Initiative. So basically, we started working at the schools about six years ago when there was a series of violence happening in the area of Boston, mostly young men in the age of 14, 15, 16, having to be in homicides, and mostly gang related, usually between 18th Street and MS 13. School called Roca to help out. So we started working in the school, getting a prevention cohort about, we have had like at least 100 kids that we have been working through the years. 1 minute. So yeah, so we've been advocating for them in the schools. We advocate for them in immigration courts. We work through with the school to do restorative circles, work with the SROs, teachers, deans, even the principals. We teach the CBT in schools as well as the kids that we have in caseloads, and circles as well. I think you touched like most of it.
But what are your goals? Our goals is to service another 100 young
100.
people in the school to prevent the violence and the violent services. 50 of the highest risk young people each year, Roca's intervention model, and keep and build on the work that we're doing and strengthen things. And if you all want to come over next week, we're having a cookout on Wednesday, okay? Nobody's smiling. Come on, everybody.
Next Wednesday. All right. Maybe I'll be there. I'm down the street in Massachusetts. So
Beautiful.
maybe I'll come over there. Depends if
Excellent.
the Celtics are on, you know?
If they're on, we'll put them on the big screen in Town Center.
There you go. All right. Thank you very much. Up next, we have self-awareness in recovery in Sacramento, California. Maybe, maybe not. Do we have anybody from Sacramento? Going once. I knew there would be one. All right, we will skip over them. And we're gonna start our New York contingent. We're gonna start off with P2L, Pathways to Leadership in New York.
Great, thank you for the intro. Hi, my name is Yindi Vatanavan. I am the Vice President for P2L, which also stands for Pathways to Leadership. And we are a nonprofit that serves New York City public schools with programming grounded in social work and child development theory. So specifically on this project, we have our Director of Programming, Jenny Greenman, who's I think in and out of the meeting, Sharice Scott Cooper, who is our Restorative Justice Director, Isla Sullivan, who is our RJ Coordinator, and then we also have a team of teaching artists, trainers, and hopefully by next year, social work interns. The funding was approved much later, so we had a set of social work interns that we had to put at another site because they have to get their field work in for the school year. This project targets approximately 950 high school students attending Evander Child's Educational Complex, which is a high needs district in the Bronx here in New York City. We want to essentially support their academic progress and community safety, specifically addressing suspension rates, which have increased over the last 3 years, especially since the return of in-school programming, high incidence, and the low scores in all of their school safety metrics. So we're coming in with integrated multiple interventions. So we are bringing in restorative justice, social emotional learning, which consists of after school and lunchtime programming, and specifically a violence prevention curriculum, which is evidence-based OJJDP and CASEL-vetted curriculum. And our goal is to promote interpersonal skills, peer connection, academic self-concept, improve conflict resolution strategies, and reduce overall aggression on campus. We will also be bringing in professional development to really highlight these things for the school and the staff, and to make sure that everybody is trained in restorative justice practices and the different curriculum that we're implementing. We will also be extending this to family engagement, and we will have a team of mentors, which will consist of our social workers and trainers to work with the students more one-on-one and in group settings. Most importantly, right now, we are really establishing the RJAT team, which meets monthly and consists of basically stakeholders at the school to make sure that we are all aligned in our vision. Teachers, parents, students, guidance counselor, deans, and our restorative justice team are all part of this group that meets monthly. And really, we're just making sure that we're planning accordingly, you know, to make sure that we have buy-in across the campus and across the school. So our full-time team is really leading staff trainings and healthy student engagements and restorative justice practices. We are training students right now to be a part of our peer mediation squad. We are managing and setting up a prep peace room, which actually has been the hardest thing to do because to get this kind of space on this campus has been really hard, but it's basically turned into a safe space for students that is open from morning till 6 p.m. We are strategizing how to best implement RJ practices within each school culture and really honoring that all these schools are coming from different places and just starting where they're at, you know, and really adjusting to make sure that we're meeting their needs. We're observing systems, programs, and best practices that currently contribute to positive school culture. We are also observing and coaching school staff and using an RJ approach in responding to student behavior and conflict. We lead workshops for RJ staff members, and we're just starting our family engagement piece. And then we have a team of social workers and trainers and teaching artists who are providing basically one-on-one mentoring, goal setting with students, and working in small groups. And our teaching artist team is really providing the in-class enrichment, the curriculum that I talked about earlier, and engaging students in various activities during lunch and after school. And we're hoping that this wraparound, all of these wraparound services will reduce basically all the violent incidents and suspensions and all the things that I talked about earlier about wanting to focus on for the next 3 years.
Thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
You're getting me very excited because one of our subject matter experts is you're gonna love them. They are doing something so similar to what you are describing that you guys are just gonna, I'm sure, have lots of good conversation.
I love it.
Stay tuned for a preview of coming attractions.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Next in our swing through New York is a Student Assistance Service Corporation, although I guess they're technically called Upstate New York since they're in Tarrytown. So no, still New York City?
No, well, so I'm about 20 minutes from New York City, and our target area is the city of Yonkers. So I'm Nicole Malgarinos with Student Assistance Services. We're located in Tarrytown, New York, which is suburban New York City. And we are an agency that for 35 years has been working in the field of prevention and youth substance use, violence prevention. We provide student assistance counselors to many of the schools in Westchester County and through our affiliations with other prevention resource centers in Dutchess and Putnam counties as well. So for the purpose of this project, I'll give you a little historical narrative. We've been doing some work with the county on expanding our threat assessment CSTAG trainings across the county, working with our Department of Public Safety, our principals, our superintendents to really make sure that we had integrated those trainings into all of those schools. The other prong there was youth mental health first aid. We really wanted to institutionalize youth mental health first aid so that bus drivers have taken it, teachers, coaches. And so, yeah, so that was really a county-wide push. And when we saw this opportunity, we were thinking specifically about the city of Yonkers. You know, the city of Yonkers is historically for about the past 50 years has been an under-resourced city. It is the third largest city in New York State. Underserved, under-resourced, and so as are the schools. So what we have named Project PAVE, which is prevention, anti-violence, empowerment, is really targeted towards 8 large high schools in the city of Yonkers. We're going to be working with 9th to 12th graders. In particular, we want to be able to support high school students who have been targets, bystanders, or perpetrators of bullying or violent acts. This grant also, we have a subrecipient. The school district actually is the subrecipient. They, within their auspice, support My Brother's Keeper, which is a national organization. And My Brother's Keeper's mission is to address the persistent opportunity gaps faced by Yonkers boys of color and ensure that youth reach their full potential. And this is a really active chapter in Yonkers. So opportunities through My Brother's Keeper are going to include coaching opportunities, mentorships, paid internships, job readiness. And we're actually just launching a lifeguard training. There are 2 pools in the entire city of Yonkers, so it's been a little bit challenging. And that's the practical end in terms of programming. We are also still looking for 2 violence prevention counselors and to really do that direct service piece and identify families, make connections with community-based organizations. The one gift that we've always had, even though this is an under-resourced city, is a robust coalition that has worked together. So we have our YMCA, we have SNUG programs, we have art programs. And so with that coalition support, we really want to kind of do a continuum of care around violence prevention. So these counselors will be able to be working with families and youth and utilize those resources. Yonkers got hit really hard by COVID. Everything shut down. Our programs just went away. And it really has taken the past year for people to get funding for all of those vital services to get up and running. And one of the silver linings in terms of receipt of this funding has been a re-engagement at a higher level of all of these providers that are really jazzed to be a part, to be doing the work again. So it's been a catalyst for that. And I'm sure that I've missed many more things, but I'm really happy to be able to work with you all as a group and just find it fascinating how each community is looking at this, in various ways, but so many similarities. Am I up?
Well done, Nicole. Thank you very much. And I put in the chat, if there's anybody that is scheduled to present on day 2 that is interested in jumping in, please let me know. You get additional bonus points. Don't ask what they are. I don't know what they are, but you get additional bonus points if you want to volunteer. Nelson, perfect. Nelson County Schools. All right. So we are going to continue with our swing through New York with our friends in Brooklyn, the Kings Against Violence Initiative.
Sorry about that. Happy Friday, everyone. Ramik Williams, joined with my colleague, Anthony Busereth. We are co-executive directors of CAVI, also known as Kings Against Violence Initiative. We're a 13-year-old youth development organization that utilizes trauma-informed care in 3 program settings, schools, Kings County Hospital, and community. We support our work through advocacy and research. Our programs are designed to, similar to several organizations here, our programs are designed to work with people who have been impacted by violence, either as perpetrators or victims of violence. So within our schools program, we utilize a restorative justice model to help individuals navigate into new behaviors and new opportunities. That may be employment opportunities, it may be post-secondary options, it may be counseling opportunities, it may be all of those things. Within our hospital programs, we provide victims support services that actually extend throughout the organization, but it's most directly housed within our hospital program. And those victim services may include residents, it may identify residents issues, may identify legal issues, may identify food, health, runs the gamut of services that help people recover from a violent injury or being victimized. In addition to our victim services program, we operate a SELF program, Safety, Emotion, Loss, and Future. It is a group-based program that helps young people, primarily young people, identify how they got in the situation that they're in, which allows them to take agency and addresses the issues of recidivism. Our programs also work deeply with the hospital community. So we work with the social work department, we work with pastoral care, we work with the emergency department, we work with neuroscience, we work as a partner within the hospital to make sure that our clients have the resources and support that they need upon discharge. Our community programs are probably our most external facing programs in that we work with local elected officials, tenants associations, block associations, schools, and other community members to elevate the issues that we care about as an organization. So mental health, youth development, economic opportunities, workforce development, you name it when it comes to comprehensive services in the human services sector. We joined the organization last year, February, and really have been dedicated to enhancing our programs. Most recently, in addition to our direct services, most recently, our research programs have taken off. So we're currently working with the Urban Institute to capture issues of violence or perceptions of violence within the 67th district here in Brooklyn. And that work is supported by another research project that we're doing with the research firm Karna on identifying the high touch, low touch, and other services that we are providing within our hospital-based program. That work is, I guess, was initiated with an initiative we participated in last year called New York City Speaks, which captured community members' views on what was happening in their community as it relates to quality of living. And so that informed us and continues to inform us on the types of programs and services that we need to provide. This particular program will be housed within our school program. We work with several community and local schools, mostly high schools in Brooklyn. And so this program will help us deepen those relationships and further those relationships. Our restorative justice program and our peer facilitator program, which is a peer education program for high school students, will really benefit from this opportunity because it will allow us to expand what we do in schools, engage parents, engage the larger school community, particularly teachers, teachers' assistants, deans that are more on the ground and doing the work of engaging young people who have either demonstrated dangerous behaviors to themselves or others, or on track to demonstrate those types of unwanted behaviors. I don't know, I think that's it, and I don't know where we're at in time.
That's very comprehensive, and I love the idea of bringing research into this. I think as we move through this grant program, one of the key things that we want to help you all out with is to be able to tell the story of the work and the outcomes you all have been able to achieve, and sometimes even the challenges and the hiccups and what you've learned from them. And then hopefully use that information to create opportunities for sustainability. So, that research, that data component is really a critical piece that's sometimes very difficult to achieve. So love hearing about how that's been built into your system. All right, we're gonna take a turn away from New York. We're gonna head down to Memphis and our friends in the Shelby County Board of Education.
Salutations and greetings, everybody. Happy, fabulous, fantastic Friday. My name is Latasha Dillard. I am program advisor here with Memphis Shelby County Schools Office of Safety. We have members of our team. Our Director Lakira Elliott is online, and our data specialist, Lupe, is online. And so we are the largest school district in Tennessee. We serve about 110,000 students, and we are excited about this initiative. The goal of the initiative is to support the development and expansion of strategies that will increase school safety by preventing and reducing school violence. We'll be collaborating and partnering with community-based organizations that are phenomenal and passionate about working with our students. That will only service about 5 of our high-incidence schools. The initiative will help transform the mindset and behaviors of students that have issues with disruptive behaviors, expulsions, and suspensions that are gang-related, as well as fights or group fights. So we plan on collaborating with those community-based organizations that will provide backpack services such as life skills, gang intervention and prevention, mental health, mentorship, creative arts, extracurricular activities, interpersonal skills, conflict resolution, violence prevention, English as a second language, and any other things that they may need. Those organizations also will serve as liaisons between the families and the schools as well, to provide services or connections with organizations that can provide services such as housing assistance, utility assistance, clothing and uniform vouchers, immediate and mental health resources. We want to meet the need of the whole family as we help the students as well transform. So it's going to be a 90-day process working with the student and the family, not just the student, but working with the student and the family, so we can reduce student violence. That kind of sums it up. Dr. Elliott, do you want to add anything, or Lupe?
I think you did a good job, Ms. Dillard. Hello, everyone. It's good to see everyone on the call today. Memphis, just in general, our youth has been plagued with a lot of gun and gang violence. So we are very excited to have this initiative to help us. We already utilized the Grassy model, but one component that we were missing was those community-based organizations to help us provide those interventions and preventions outside of school. So we're happy to be able to have the funding to have them back, to be sure that we not only are engaged with the students, but also the families. So we are listening and just learning so much from you, from everyone on the call, and just looking forward to it, especially the collaboration piece of what's working and what is not working, because we want to be sure to make a difference, whether it's big or small.
Thank you so much. And thank you both for your flexibility. Memphis was like, whenever you want to put us on, please do so. So you guys get bonus points for that. And the other group with bonus points is our friends in Nelson County School District in Bardstown, Kentucky.
Right. Hello, everybody. I'm Stacy Holderman, and I am the Director of Mental Health for Nelson County Schools. And we are also very young in our work here. I began with Nelson County Schools December 1st, and I'm here because of the grant. So that's pretty exciting for me. So the program that we are actually focused on here in Nelson County is called Re-Thrive. And it is a program that's built specifically for students whose educational local school site has changed from their specific school to the alternative school here in the county. And the school is called the Academy. And so the Academy focuses on thriving. And so our program we named Re-Thrive because we have students in this program who are here for various reasons. And you all, I'm sure, have good ideas of why students would be in an alternative school. Some of those students have substance use problems or issues. Some of those students are aggressive and can't maintain in their classrooms. Students have, and I've heard you all say truant, maybe truant from school, all kinds of things going on. And so we really wanted to create a program that would focus on those students and give them an opportunity that would not just be or feel like a consequence, but would be therapeutic in nature. And so the ReThrive program focuses on reconnecting the student with people, places, and purpose. We also focus on recharging them, and that's where a lot of our therapeutic interventions come into play. And then refocus, and we work really hard to help them refocus and get caught up with their academics through credit recovery or whatever it is that they need so that they can be on grade level. I'll focus a little bit more on the therapeutic interventions because I think that's what makes this ReThrive program. So you gave me those bonus points. I may have to cash them in if I talk too long. So, but the therapeutic interventions are really what make this program special, I think. So we do an individualized needs assessment. We build a behavior intervention and support plan. We really work to help them build protective factors. We do substance use prevention and education. We have psychoeducational groups. So it's very therapeutic, and that's pretty exciting. In addition, we have other partners that really work to help make us successful. We do have a day treatment program that students from the academy can go to if needed, and we partner with them. We actually have a psychiatric residential treatment facility that we're partnering with that is brand new to Nelson County. And so we're doing some work with them. And the University of Kentucky, big partner for us. They are going to be doing trauma-informed care training for us. We are going to look to them for positive behavioral and intervention support training. And we also have clinical therapists on staff who get to do EMDR training. So if you don't know what that is, I'll have to put it in the chat. I'm out of time. So good to see you all. Oh, I have 1 minute. I'll take it. So the clinical therapists that get to work in this program also get to come in. They are all licensed, qualified mental health providers, and they get to work with students who really present with medical necessity. And so they get to work with them to help them have a therapist on staff. And the therapists that work for Nelson County schools will go to the EMDR training in May. And that stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing training. So it's an evidence-based technique that clinical therapists use when they're working with students with trauma. So lots of good stuff going on, and we're just excited about it and thankful for the support.
Thank you very much, Stacy. So we have covered everybody that we were going to cover today. I was thinking about adding one more. I know our friends in Austin were interested in presenting, but I think in the trying to get you out on time, we will make sure we'll get you out on time. We have 5 more minutes. So I don't know if folks want and maybe 1 or 2 questions that you might want to just ask of either Scott and the OJJDP team, or something that you heard that you thought was really interesting. That you want to ask of your cohort sites. And feel free to jump in or raise your hand.
I've been taking lots of notes, and I've been, pulling from this person to this person to this person. And I know that this is probably not the avenue to do this, but I'm so excited that we are a cohort, because I've taken some of the things I've like, okay, I'm gonna contact this person, I'm gonna contact this person. So this is really, really, really good. I mean, I think that's the one thing that if I look at federal grants, and when an RFP comes out and we all have the same goal, but I think one of the negative things is that we all start like competing against each other, but this is an opportunity that we can all share, and that we can all learn from each other. If somebody in Tennessee is doing something that I can help a youth, the bottom line is, how can we help these students? How can we help the students? So I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly right. And you all kind of get a sense of, where folks are from. We have folks across the country from urban areas, suburban areas, rural areas.
Yes.
You'll hear next session, a couple of Native American tribes that are going to be presenting. And you all are very unique in the communities that you all are living in, and the experiences of your communities are unique. But as Pam said, you all have opportunities to learn from each other and communicate and share what's working and what the challenges are. Because we do want you all to succeed in the programs that you are trying to develop in your communities. So this is the community practice that we're going to be developing over these 3 years. I appreciate and love the energy that you all have brought, and we're going to hope to maintain that over the next 3+ years, hopefully at least 3 years, maybe plus, who knows. And you'll hear a little bit more about TTA next week. And Scott, I don't know if there's any closing words you want, or if not, we'll just wrap this up and give people a couple more minutes.
I just really appreciate the energy, just like James said, and really excited to have everyone on board. And it's going to be a good road ahead. I mean, it's as we kind of start coming back together, in person. I think that's going to really be an additional opportunity to get people connected around the work and really interface and carry the work into a more sustainable future. So I'm really excited. Thank you so much, James.
No problem. And between now and next Thursday, if you have questions or want to get contact with anybody else, don't hesitate to email me. I'm going to put my email address in the chat. jstart@lisc.org. So take that, copy it, and I can help facilitate connections. Otherwise, you guys probably gotten already a deluge of emails from me. You can check the old emails. Other than that, we will see you next Thursday. Take care, y'all.